Welcome to the Sacred Feminine Connection podcast, founded by me, Anne Reynolds, with a twofold mission, which is to reweave the red thread of sisterhood among women around the world and restore the sacred connection between the feminine and masculine that thrived in ancient times but was lost and forgotten. At this time, this podcast airs every second Monday of the month on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Today's episode is entitled The Earth as Mother. Our guest speaker today is Sita Davis, a mother, partner, and lover of art, the living earth, the moon, and the rhythms of nature. She is a yoga instructor and certified yoga therapist devoted to nurturing community, supporting the healing of our relationship with life, and honoring our cyclical nature. As an educator with more than 2 decades of experience, she has taught both children and adults in and beyond the classroom and is currently a full-time middle school Spanish teacher. She also facilitates foraging classes, moon circles, and healing-centered yoga offerings rooted in breath, energy awareness, and deep connection. Welcome, Sita. I am so excited for you to join me today. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Anne. It's my pleasure. Yeah.
This is so wonderful. So I can't wait to learn more about your story. So, how did the Earth Mother call out to you for the first time in your life?
Mm. Oh, I just feel so wildly blessed to have developed a relationship with this beautiful, loving source of support and presence at a really young age. Um, and that's stuck with me my whole life. So the story kind of goes when I was in elementary school, my parents were working a lot and not incredibly available. They did their best and are wonderful human beings. And I have a fantastic relationship with both of them. And also, they just weren't really around at that point. And so, there was a period of time after we had moved into a new house and I didn't have a key to the house. And I would walk home from school and have to wait for my parents to get home. And so I did a lot of like waiting and counting the cars. And okay, after 5 blue cars, my mom will drive up, this kind of thing. And so yeah, I was adapting to a new place and feeling this kind of sense of isolation and confusion about who am I and who is here to support me. And so I remember one day that kind of really coming to a head. And I was like, why am I waiting here? I'm just going to go somewhere else. And so I went on a walk and found this undeveloped area in the town that I lived. And at this part of my life, I was living under Mount Tam. And so I remember like actually getting down on the earth and feeling this sense of desperation of, is there someone beyond the adults in my life that are not really available? Is there something or someone beyond that is here for me? And I got the clearest answer. And I get goosebumps thinking about just how entirely and completely I felt held by this sense of Mount Tam. Mount Tam just is such a phenomenal force of love. And so I just sensed like, I got you, like, no worries. Adults are great and, they can help with lots of things, but like, there's something much bigger that is sustaining you. So that was kind of my first conversation with God. And God as Earth Mother, as Mountain, Mother as Mountain. And definitely it gave me a sense of solidity and security within myself that I can't imagine even being provided by a caregiver. That experience, I think, changed me profoundly, forever. And that's my deep desire for everyone to be able to feel that held by themselves, by the fabric of life, by by this great mother that is the living, pulsing planet Earth, and then zooming out, to this cosmic dance of Earth and moon around sun and all of the other planets. It's like such a miracle. It's all such a miracle. So that was the first thing. And then I've had several other experiences that have to do with my relationship with foraging now, that were similar in impact. One of those was when I think actually it was earlier in my life because I was not 8 yet. And I went foraging. Oh, there's a hawk. Um, I went foraging with a family friend in this pine forest and found porcinis, and he cooked them for us for dinner, in this pasta dinner, and I was 7, and if I think about that moment, what was coming into alignment for me in that moment is like, food doesn't come from the supermarket.
Hmm.
Food does not come from the supermarket. Food
Hmm.
comes from this incredible fabric of life that we are so blessed to be a part of. So that planted a seed that then came back later. I think sometime in my 30s when I was working. I was actually working at the same school that I'm working at again now, and I would stand on the same place on the main road in front of the school to do like a morning duty and greet cars as they were coming and open doors and things like that. And in the place where I would always stand, these two Amanita muscaria, the red mushrooms with the white spots, came up, right next to me. It's like on a street. There was a little planter box and some pine trees that were real close. Um, and I don't know, I was just like standing there waiting for the cars to come, and I saw these, bright red mushrooms, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, mushrooms really matter. And so I asked, I don't know, I was not in a super spiritually connected moment in my life, but I asked, um, what what are you here to tell me?
Hmm.
And the response was again very, very clear. You need to learn about mushrooms. It's like, okay, I can do
That's
that. I bought
amazing.
a bunch of books and I started, yeah, learning how to forage. And I've, yeah, since then developed a really just beautiful, life-changing relationship with finding food and medicine in the forest that really sustains me.
So there's so many things that I want to ask you, but first of all, because we're already talking about foraging, so let's go with that. So
Mm-hmm.
when is foraging, is that actually foraging for mushrooms, or can it
Mm-hmm.
also be, yes, it's exact, so it's for mushrooms. And
Mostly for mushrooms, but yeah, I
okay.
also like pick spring greens and herbs and medicine, and like, make tinctures and salves and stuff like that when I have enough time and I make time for it.
This is so beautiful because this is exactly the connection with the Earth Mother, right? Because
Exactly.
then,
Like, your mother feeds you. That's
yes,
the
yeah,
first
literally,
experience
literally.
of
I mean,
being
well, yes,
fed
yes,
when
yes,
that
yes,
cycle is
right.
intact. Then yeah, the first experience of being fed is through breast of mother.
Correct, correct. And then that
So,
you're expanding on that because then that's really where the food comes from. And I think this is really important to mention as well because it's really easy to just buy the food, like you go to the market and buy the food. I mean, like probably most of the population does that every day, but like that's always the fascinating thing is to learn, oh, somebody else actually picked that. And then, it's like, oh, you could see like it's really growing from the ground. So it's like there was the earth was sustaining it until, it grew enough so that it could be harvested. It could be harvested and then after or foraged, and it ends up on your table after you cook it. And just that cycle of giving and receiving, that's the sustenance of the mother. And that Amanita muscaria that you were
Muscaria,
mentioning.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know this as it's connected to the sacred feminine.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, so I'm like,
Soma, the like,
oh my God, there it's already there
the
for you.
nectar of life,
Yes.
nectar of life mushroom. Yeah.
That's
Please.
amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And so
Yeah.
it's already there. And well, but I'm really dying to know.
Mm.
That's a paradox because we're all talking about life, but I'm dying to know. Okay. How old were you when you were when you first connected with Mount Tam?
9.
Oh, you were
I was
9.
9.
Okay.
Yeah, so I lived in Oakland until I was 9, and then we moved to Marin, and yeah, my parents like switched work realities. They started
Okay.
working a lot more.
Oh, okay.
And we also, it was a place where now, like, we used to have to drive for me to get to school, and I did a carpool with a neighbor and all that. But in Mill Valley, I could walk to my school and back, and anywhere
In
else I needed to go.
in Marin.
Yeah.
And that's how you ended up walking to Mount Tam because it was really close to your
Hmm.
to your school. Is that right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's so beautiful.
yeah,
So you're
yeah.
really a Bay Area girl
Yeah, I am
through and
definitely a
through.
Bay Area girl. Um, and now there's a hummingbird.
I
That are
noticed that
getting the
there's so
business.
many birds and there's the birds
Yeah.
they're joining in the conversation.
They
So
are,
that's
exactly.
really beautiful
Yeah.
that, you're like allowing space for them to also like come in,
To join
recognizing
in.
their presence. That's
Yeah.
really so beautiful. So
Yeah.
I'm super curious because you're a Spanish teacher and also you're a yoga teacher. So
Hmm.
could you tell us a little bit more about how Spanish became your current, well, it became another language that you learned and
Hmm.
are absolutely fluent in, that that now that you're teaching it full time.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
one, but also because we're already at it, the yoga. I'm
Hmm.
very curious how it all came together. So tell us a
Hmm.
little bit more about that.
So weaving together, my parents. I was born in Chennai in southern India because my parents were studying yoga with Desikachar. My dad was studying with Desikachar, who's like the father of yoga therapy. And then they practiced yoga quite a bit when I was a young child. We moved back to Oakland when I was 6 months old, so I didn't, live in India for a long time. But that was like the origin story, like that we were there because they were studying yoga, and so yoga was like a big piece of my early childhood. Seeing my mom stand on her head for like a long time at a time, and things like that. So I would say I kind of distant that path. My parents did less and less yoga as I grew up, and then started to kind of bring it back. But when I was in college, I was like, oh, I'm gonna take a yoga class, um, and yeah, very similar experiences of feeling held by my own breath and my own body that are connected to the breath and the body of the universe, of this earth, and knowing about plants and this like photosynthesis and oxygen release and carbon dioxide release. And it's a way, being conscious of my breath and of my movement is for me another extension of this sense of being a part of the magic of life. Um, yeah, not disconnected from her, which is, I think, like at my worst, when I think about the hardest times in my life, like that's what was missing, was that deep sense of connection with earth, with earth and universe. So anyway, so I started studying yoga after that, after college, and then did a yoga teacher training program, and then a yoga therapy program, and yeah, I've had some beautiful experiences learning about yoga. And I think at this point, like, I'm not a part of a lineage anymore, or keeping the kind of like teacher to student connection alive. because like my parents went through a guru scandal when I was young, and there have been so many guru scandals that I've, that have been a part of my awareness as someone who has been studying yoga. And so I'm like, I'd rather just get directly to the source. Like, yeah, earth, air, water, fire, sun, moon, all of these energies are kind of what teach me yoga at this point.
I love
So I
that.
hope that in my classes, that is what comes through is that extension of being breathed by the earth, by the trees, and of flowing with the cycles of nature, and remembering our true nature. And so Spanish. So I had another experience of like, whoa, zing, alignment. I know some sort of truth for myself as a young person. So I ended up spending a summer in Ecuador as a teenager, and lived in an indigenous community, and did worm composting. That was a project that the community was doing, and so I went and participated in the worm composting projects. That we would go house to house and participate with the worm composting project. So I learned a lot about worm composting, which I still do and love, mostly for that cycle. It's like a closed cycle. Like, okay, if what I throw out from the kitchen can turn into worm food that then turns into soil that feeds the plants that then I eat. That cycle is intact, and that is healing in the same way that feeling held by the earth is healing. So I dig around a lot in my worm composting bin. But anyway, it was an incredibly empowering and powerful experience to feel so at home. It took me a little while to adjust, definitely, but as a 16-year-old to feel at home in this incredibly generous and beautiful and loving community. And also with the language, all of a sudden, there was this sort of like switching point where I understood and was understood, and felt like Spanish as a mode of communication was something that like I could no longer live without. That just felt right to my soul on a deeper level. And so then the following summer, I traveled with a couple friends. Had just graduated from high school, and they had also participated in the same program, but in different countries. And so we were flying over Mexico, and I just had this moment of like, zing, a sudden alignment. And I knew, I was like, I'm going to live in Mexico. I'm going to live here. Like, this is home in a different way that I don't know yet. I've never been to Mexico. But there was a knowing that I was gonna have some sort of lifelong connection. And that's how it's been. That's how it's
How
been for sure.
beautiful. You were saying about, okay, because we were talking about Spanish language, and you were just saying that, it was the language of your soul. Are those the words that you said? Is that right?
Well, that my soul felt like it like something felt right about it in my
Yeah.
soul. I don't know if it's the language of my soul. I think, yeah, there are lots of
Something felt
languages
right
in my soul,
about
but it felt right. It felt
it felt
really right.
right in
It
your
felt like
soul.
something
And
I wasn't gonna be able to live
yes.
without anymore.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's a good thing because I completely agree with you because then that's how I I also speak Spanish, so muy bien, muy bien.
Eso.
Me alegro mucho.
Mm.
Qué bien, qué lindo. Y todos los que están escuchando que hablan español, entonces así está, bien lindo el idioma, right?
Hermoso.
Sí,
Sí,
muy hermoso.
el
Sí,
idioma, sí.
estamos súper agradecidos y estamos muy contentos de poder comunicar en este linda idioma de ustedes. So, entonces, muchas gracias,
Totalmente de acuerdo. Sí,
¿verdad?
es un gran regalo, y abre puertas a conexión con gente, sí, hermosa.
Sí, qué lindo, qué lindo. Y por eso, por todos los que solamente hablan en español, la cita tiene
Un regalo.
algo sí, tiene algo para ustedes. A ver, ¿puedes decir un poquito más? Porque creo que estábamos pensando si vamos a hablar sobre eso, porque, pero ya estamos hablando, entonces, ¿por qué no?
Súper. Bueno, yo participo en un proyecto que se llama La Luna es mi calendario en español y en inglés es The Moon is my calendar. Y ¿sigo en español?
Sí, 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 porque eso sí,
Ok, súper.
específicamente para los que hablan español, ¿verdad?
Claro, sí,
Entonces,
sí, sí.
ya.
Entonces, desde hace 10 años traduzco este calendario, que es un diario lunar. Puedo mostrar algunas páginas. Es un diario circular cuyo propósito es conectarnos con nuestros ciclos, los interiores y los ciclos más allá de nuestro cuerpo. Am, y entonces traduzco el calendario y ayudo a distribuirlo. Más bien lo distribuyo en México y de vez en cuando también en Colombia o en Ecuador, pero más que nada en México. Y pues este año no lo imprimí, pero sí hay una versión digital. Entonces, con mucho gusto les damos el regalo de la versión digital del calendario, del diario y calendario Luna Nueva de la luna es mi calendario.
Entonces, sí, si puedes decirnos un poquito más por qué vale hacer cómo puedes explicarnos cómo funciona este calendario para que sepan qué es hay que hacer cuando tendrán.
Muy bien. Muy bien, el calendario, puedo mostrar algunas páginas ya completas. Am, Cada ciclo lunar tiene 6 páginas, tiene un calendario circular. Esto es creado por una amiga muy amada. Perdón, voy a empezar por acá. Una amiga muy amada, April McMurtry. Entonces empieza con un mandala lunar que puedes dibujar, escribir, puedes hacer un collage, puedes, bueno, hay un sinfín de posibilidades para guiarnos a lo largo del ciclo lunar, sembrar intenciones, escribir inquietudes, como uno lo quiera usar. Y luego hay una página para escribir semillas de intención y dibujarlas también, o dibujar símbolos que representan esas intenciones. Um, y después el calendario circular. Entonces, pues yo dibujo símbolos cada día para representar diferentes cosas. Fui al bosque, no fui al bosque, regué mis plantas, no regué mis plantas, ¿no? Cómo me sentí, tuve dolor físico, no tuve dolor físico, en qué momento de mi ciclo menstrual estuve, um, etcétera, ¿no? Lo que uno quiera observar. Es como una bitácora, como si hiciéramos una observación de algo de la naturaleza todos los días, pero nos estamos observando a nosotras mismas. Bueno, nosotras mismas, creo que lo puede usar cualquier persona de cualquier género. Y bueno, yo también siempre dibujo, si veo la luna, la dibujo aquí para honrarla, para decir, ah, sí, estuve poniendo atención, ¿no? Y después hay 2 páginas para escribir un poco más a detalle y una página para reflexionar y soltar. Am, y fue mi mandala muy sencillo de febrero y marzo, gracias vida, que es el mantra de siempre. Es una práctica súper poderosa para recordar nuestro papel en el tejido de la vida.
Qué lindo. Y también podemos reconocer eh, la certeza de nuestra naturaleza cíclica, ¿verdad?
Totalmente. Sí, sí, esto reafirma nuestra naturaleza cíclica. Espero que mis clases de yoga también hagan eso, ¿no? Que abran espacio para que cada persona pueda sentir su naturaleza cíclica.
Lindo, lindo. And
Sí.
so I wanted to continue because the first time I met the first time I met Sita, I met her at a moon retreat. So she was co facilitating a moon retreat with her friend that she was saying is April. And we did the yoga, and then you were saying about the yoga about like how it was connecting with the elements and with the earth, right? Like moon, I mean moon, air, water, earth, sky. And yes, you because you were mentioning how that you hope that even though that is like what is coming through, like when you did, and I did it and I felt it. So that's what I wanted to say. So it's like whatever you what your intention, it came through to me because I was like one of the participants at the moon retreat. One other thing that was occurring to me just because your name is Sita and you were born in India, so
Mhm.
that's a really special name as well. Could you tell us the origin of your name?
It's a big honor to carry that name through the world, and I do it humbly and yeah, with gratitude. So yeah, Sita's goddess, I mean earth goddess, really. Um, yeah, she is said to have been found in a furrow or born in a furrow. Um, that reference of fertility, and I think my understanding is that Sita means furrow, and the wife or consort of Rama, who, yeah, she led a difficult, challenging life. But my understanding is that she was in exile in the forest for most of her life, and that's where she raised her children, and that that's a part of her story that I really connect with.
Yes, yes, yes. It's so yeah, she definitely has that connection. She is she's the yes, in other words, it's like her connection with the earth is very strong, and especially because she was in exile, but yes, she is the wife of Lord Rama from uh,
Ramayana.
yes, from the Ramayana, and that age is the Treta Yuga. It's during the
Oh.
Treta
Mm,
Yuga.
mm,
And I would say that like one of the symbolisms that's really strong was of her purity of
mhm,
heart. I
mhm,
mean, like her also her purity, like as a woman, and
mhm.
also her purity of heart. Because if I'm not mistaken, in the story, it's she walked through a fire
Fire,
and she came out.
fire, yeah,
She
trial
came
by
out.
fire.
She came out whole.
Yeah, yeah,
So, so
the
there you
connection.
go. It's like
Yeah.
your name is so awesome, but based on everything, but I already felt this when I met you.
Mm.
But now it's gonna come out because it's like this whole interview so far, it's I could really see your connection with the earth.
Mhm,
It's just really it's really coming out in all the different
mhm,
it keeps coming up. This is the connection. This is the
mhm.
connection. It's earth in one way or another. That's really it. So it's like you really are the earth woman.
No, I mean we all are, right? We all live on this
Yes.
incredible miracle of a planet, and if we could all be Earth people and give her a whole lot more appreciation and a whole lot less grief. Oh my goodness.
This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. And so,
Oh.
could you tell us a little bit more about the like which is there like a specific experience that you had that that impacted that made the most impact in your life? Because you've already mentioned them, but which of
Mhm.
those, if any,
Mhm.
made the most impact in your life and
Mhm.
motivated you toward the work that you do today?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think every time I step into a space where there are plants or plants mostly, or anything that has that pulsing feeling of life, art even, um, and I am conscious, not like on autopilot or numbing myself or distracted by something, but when I am truly conscious, and like looking at a houseplant or a hummingbird or a mountain, I mean Mount Tam, like I just close my eyes and think about Mount Tam, and I'm like a puddle of love. but but really, even, just like the roses on the altar, or my monstera, or whatever little piece of the earth I may have access to in any given moment, if I'm conscious enough, has the capacity to be one of those moments where I'm like, my life is changed by you, houseplant.
That's so
um,
beautiful. I really love
Thanks.
that.
Yeah. And so that first time, that I mean, I think that first, although there was a first time before that first time, where in my backyard when we lived in Oakland, there was an English rose bush. And it was like, I feel like I had to like climb up on top of the fence between the my landlord lived in the back in a cottage, and then there were other houses on the other side, and so I think I had to climb up on top of a fence, and I don't know how, like, where I would perch myself, but I have this very um, beautiful memory of whenever things weren't going great for me, or like I would come home from school kind of feeling like, I don't know, who am I? What am I doing here? Um, and I would sit in that little place under the English rose bush. And I remember once seeing an earthworm and just like taking the time to watch this little like bright green. You know how earthworms are kind of translucent, and that beautiful lime green color. I remember watching the earthworm, and yeah, just feeling magic, feeling pure magic inside. Um, so that was maybe the first memory that I have of that feeling of magic, and overflowing gratitude for being a part of life. And then, the next one was when I was really in crisis, feeling, somewhat abandoned, and then having a parental figure, a mother figure that was just like larger than anything I could have possibly imagined. Step in and be like, I got you.
That's
Yeah.
so beautiful. I really love that.
Mm.
That's just so nice to have, it was like it's the gift of the experiences that bring you to, the Earth Mother's arms. That's just so wonderful. I so,
Mm.
so, so love that. And
Mm.
so, could you share with us what you have for our podcast listeners today?
So yes, happy to talk more about teaching yoga, which I so 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 love. This summer, I will be offering a summer lunar yoga immersion. So we'll be meeting Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. Pacific on Zoom, um, and it will be an immersion in lunar yoga, which, like I said earlier, I hope is an experience for all of our own cyclicality, of meeting ourselves where we are. So showing up as we are, um, and breathing together and moving together in ways that are healing and connecting, and that remind us of the miracle of life. And $10 off is what is my offer, for your podcast listeners.
And the link will be in the notes. So, could you, Sita, could you tell us a little bit more about lunar yoga? Because I've
Mhm.
done the yoga. Was that lunar yoga that I did?
Yes, yeah, definitely. We were doing lunar yoga, and so it's my own yoga practice that has come out of my, I don't know, 20 years of practicing, and then the last 15 years of practicing with this journal and observing the cycles of nature, and uh, tuning deeply into the energy behind each dynamic posture. So we do poses that have a more full moon energy and a more new moon energy, and everything in between. And so the reason I call it lunar yoga is because we're not going to do 100 sun salutations, um, first of all. So it's definitely gentle, and receptive in the ways that the moon is has those qualities. So the actual practice is that way, and also it is a cyclical practice in that we come in and out of each pose, um, much the way the lunar cycle flows from new to full and back again. Um, so that's how I would describe it. It's a gentle practice that can be done. A lot of the postures can be done from a seated position on a chair. It's pretty accessible. My hope is that it's as accessible to as many any physical limitations, and it's a sweetening practice. Um, yeah, some yoga practices, and I think especially in the Western world, and in the modern world, are very exercise based. So it's not that this won't help strengthen and improve your balance, and flexibility for sure. It'll contribute to all of those things. Um, but it's not so much about like sculpt your body or make yourself a workout queen, but rather an opportunity to connect with nature through the movement, um, of your body and your breath.
Beautiful. So it's all about connection. That's so wonderful, and connection with Mother Earth.
For
So
sure.
that is so beautiful. So it's you said it's going to be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And for could you say how long is it?
An
How long is it?
hour.
An
No,
hour, and then how many sessions is it going to be?
it's 12 classes over 4 weeks. So
12 classes.
June,
Wow, we get you for the whole month. This
yeah.
is amazing. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so
I'm
everyone,
excited too.
yes, so everyone who feels called to join Sita for the lunar yoga, please, you could get more information in the notes below, and please join her. That would be wonderful. Maybe I'll join too. It would be so
Oh,
nice to
that would
see
be
you
so
all
lovely.
month. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I get to connect with you all month. This is so beautiful. All right.
Oh, likewise, that would be beautiful for me
All right.
too.
Okay. And so, what could you tell us a little bit more about what is the one earth quality that you connect with the most and why?
Mm. Oof, one earth quality. Miracle? Magic? Like interconnectedness? That's three already.
Yes, yes. And they're all self-explanatory. And
Mhm.
if you if you have ever, well, we are all people that live on Earth, and
Mhm.
so all these qualities, we have experienced it in one way or another.
Mhm.
And if you haven't really truly connected with these qualities, just what's coming from my heart right now, please go outside and
Mhm.
barefoot and connect with the earth's energy by
Mhm.
putting your feet in the grass, and you'll
Mhm.
feel just see what it feels like for you, and if it feels like, like just how she described.
Mhm.
So that's the best way that I could say that.
Mhm.
Well, thank you, Sita, for joining us today. This was so beautiful. I'm so excited to learn more about you because I already know you, and that this is just a really special interview because this is my first interview locally. So,
Wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
yay!
Yeah. Awesome.
Yay!
Yeah. Yay. Yay, Bay. I
Right?
get to look at Mount Tam
Yes.
from
Oh,
a
beautiful.
distance
Beautiful. Right,
and the Bay. Looking
right
at the
from your
Bay.
window. You could see it. That's so
I can,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you so much. And so in closing, what message do you have for those who are listening to this interview right now?
Yeah. Um, April, my dear friend, and I were having a conversation a couple days ago about hope and how to maintain hope in dark times, in like uh, moments of or in an era of mass extinction. Ah, it's heartbreaking, and it's just heartbreaking. And my response was, you know, what how does a person with terminal illness live? And my response to myself to that question that I was sharing with her was, with so much love. Like, how else might a person at a potential end, you know, a potential end to something, which is, thank goodness for cyclical framework. The end is also the beginning, which is at the end of this calendar. Um, yeah. So it makes life even more of a miracle. The fact that there is still rain and there is still sunshine and there are still rainbows and there are still hummingbirds and there's still this moment with this breath, is an absolute miracle. And so maybe that doesn't give hope. Maybe it's like, you know, bypassing hope, like straight to essence, to miracle, to pure love. Um, but I think, yeah, hope matters less when it's about essence and pure love and connection, which I think is accessible to us any time. And so, can we live these moments with consciousness, with care, and with so much love and gratitude for the absolute miracle that is this bird that's flying towards me, and the tree and the houseplant and the hummingbird and Mount Tam and all the other mountains.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sita. This was so beautiful.
Thank you, Anne. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us today in this sacred space. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If what you heard resonated with you today, please share this podcast with someone who really needs to hear this truth. And follow me today for more groundbreaking interviews. Together, let's remember the Earth Mother's loving embrace. Come alive in our lives, love with our hearts, and heal the world.